Hi Leo, here's a general look at your solar chart for April 2011. Now Mercury is going retrograde up until the 23rd, so there's going to be some hold-ups and delays at times with people or correspondence, transport. But overall, Leo, this is a very expansive time for you when you'll be inclined to turn your attention outwards and get the big picture, not be so preoccupied by resources, like finances, property, or affected by emotional triggers, maybe around relationships or obligations or burdens you have to bear due to certain commitments. Maybe they're moral kind of sort of obligations. But in April, well, you're going to be feeling more adventurous and enthusiastic, and you may have an appetite for travel or connecting with foreign cultures. The 2nd to the 5th may be a little bit heavier going at times, but very productive if you are patient and persevering there. You may have more restriction around you there. You may have more on your plate also from the 11th to the 14th and from the 17th to the 19th, when your energies could take a dip, or there's kind of more mental pressure on you, or maybe a little bit of a clash of wills there, especially on the 11th to the 14th. But overall, as I say, wider communications are favoured, and learning, teaching or advising could be part of the picture. Until the 21st, there's likely to be a resource around which feeds the piggy bank, or at least eases things there. Or someone could help you feel emotionally more secure as you share your passion for similar things together, or your passion for each other. This position of Venus means that maybe there's, an outside resource that comes in to just help in some way. It could be anything from a piece of furniture to, who knows, a win on the lottery. But I'm not predicting that, you understand. I need to look at the natal chart for that, and even if I looked at the natal chart, I probably wouldn't be able to say it 100%. But anyway, the energy suggests it's going to be easier now for you to get the kind of support, be it financial, material or emotional, that you need from some influence. And this could be, as I say, on the material level or on the more emotional sort of level. So this is the good time for the eagle eye view to cast your mental nets wider, explore possibilities to make changes that could improve things now in the future. The experiences that you have should be enlightening, and maybe, in the short term, a little bit of a nuisance, but over the long term, really, really interesting, because you know about that now. Overall, you'll tend to feel more enterprising and able to infect others with that enthusiasm, or inspire them with your knowledge or advice. And in this phase, you should be laying plans. So if that's perhaps for a trip or a new venture, or maybe you're pursuing a study program or other mind-expanding activities. Generally a time to be thinking bigger anyway. Getting out of the rut, getting off the wheel, as it were, at least projecting like that into the future. And the mental focus is going to be very future-orientated, and you'll be thinking more expansively. Keen to play with ideas and experience fresh scenarios. It's a good time to take yourself off somewhere and just escape the daily grind, or plunge into an unfamiliar mental territory. Get absorbed in something mentally and perhaps, not leave your room. Jupiter's position in this same area is going to help you to expand your world over coming months, in fact. So this is kind of like a double whammy for April, in fact. In fact, it's a triple whammy because Uranus is there as well. But you could be growing academically, and also your horizons should be broadening as you are touching into new possibilities, potentials, new areas of interest, learning about something, or through hands-on personal experience. So do take that chance to plunge into unfamiliar mental or physical territories, which broaden the understanding, and gives you perhaps another area of interest, which is very different, to what you've known before. And also teachers or unfamiliar environments or more long-distance contacts are going to be highlighted over this phase. Now, Uranus, as I've said, is slowly transiting that same area. It came in there in March, and over this very slow transit of Uranus, 7 years, you should expect to find your familiar way of thinking and interpreting the world through the familiar sights and sounds around you, the language, the culture, all of that is likely to be changing. And often in ways that you didn't expect either. There's this element of the unexpected with Uranus, this unpredictable characteristic in the Uranian vibration. Certain information could be a revelation to you, Leo, and you're going to be inspired by what you discover. But also, because of where Uranus and Jupiter are over this extended period, Jupiter much, much less, but you yourself could be seen as the one that's giving the teaching, which is inspiring or is very different to what somebody has known before. The first 4 days of Leo's, your sign, the first 4 days in July of Leo, or the first 3 degrees of Leo rising are going to feel this influence mostly over April. Now, the temporary move of Neptune into Pisces is significant. That happens on April the 5th. And that's going to help you clarify where you stand and they stand in one-to-one relationships. No longer the confusion or the blurred boundaries of the past, the codependency even of the past. Now, during this short time that Neptune's out of there, it goes back in later in the year and goes back out properly next February 2012. So this will be the beginning of the beginning, really, of getting this, rid of this confusion there. Now you are beginning to get crystal clear and more businesslike in matters of the heart, but also in what's been going on in this close relationship. Where Neptune's going, it tends to blur boundaries, wherever it goes, and also bring in a certain element of confusion or uncertainty, but also demands more compassion from you. So where it's going, this is to do with the kind of the property area, what's his, what's hers, what you share, what you rely on him for, what he relies on her for, and also in matters of business as well. So as far as you can, be, quite businesslike and cover the bases, with contracts, or just be a little bit mercenary in that area there to offset this tendency of Neptune to kind of blur those boundaries. And early Leos, or the first degree of Leo rising, going to feel this most over April. Until 2012, Saturn continues to emphasize that communications, media is an area where you've got to be your most organized and your most consistent. Education or mental work is highlighted with this transit of Saturn, and you'll have to be persistent and reliable in all matters to do with paperwork, deadlines, other types of media which is more creative and self-expressive, education, teaching, maybe you having to be the explainer, the teacher, the coordinator yourself, which involves juggling various schedules or interacting with those of differing points of view or levels of understanding, or even different languages, different time zones. You won't want to waste too much time on gossip. You'd rather cut to the chase and bring structure into that sort of, it's kind of got this sort of professional feel to it, communications activity. This vibration could also translate as you're keeping your ear to the ground, being very consistent with that too, listening more intuitively, reading between the lines, sensing which way the wind is blowing, in the group consciousness, and feeling more pressure on you to communicate well, or seeking outlets for information or where to source information. More comings and goings are a strong possibility, because this area here is also to do with transport, vehicles and so on. And again, there is another area where you might feel the squeeze on you there, because you haven't got what you'd like, the car you'd like, or the access you'd like, or it can be communications equipment like computers, like I'm using here. So wherever Saturn goes, one can feel the squeeze, but also if one is determined and holds one's course and is patient and self-disciplined and thinks ahead as well, sort of having a little fund on the side for maybe the car that breaks down or the computer that breaks down, then you should do absolutely fine. Saturn likes that kind of sort of sensible, taking a long view on things and looking ahead, you see. So, more comings and goings are a strong possibility, or comings and goings on that sort of, on that communications level as well, mentally. But, again, it's like, sometimes you feel as I've just I have to, and to do with study and education as well, meeting deadlines and so on, keeping to a schedule. But whatever is going on in this regard, understand that you are building a knowledge or a database, or expressing yourself through some medium in a step-by-step, slow, building something manner, which is going to stand you in good stead in the long run. And you will reap the reward of that. Pluto is keeping your nose to the grindstone where work or health is concerned. But just remember, no matter how busy you are or involved you get, because you tend to get very involved and a bit blinkered in those areas, make time for healthy exercise and entertaining, relaxing activities as well. And from the 20th, you'll be taking your worldly responsibilities more seriously, maybe feeling it's important to project a certain image in the eyes of others. And that's it for April. If you know your rising sign, listen to that too. It'll throw another light on what I've said here. And I'll see you the next time.